Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Sluk.
Hello there, friends. Here is my tale of the basement. Although parts of it are grim, I think you'll agree with my conclusions, and come to believe as I do, that it has been a holy place of transformation for us. This speech also comes with a warning. Contained within its body are vague references, which only a true nerd will understand. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain. Long before Pokemon or Magic the Gathering, Pogs, and long before you can download nude pictures of Captain Janeway from the internet, there was this game called AD&D, or as my dad called it, devil worship. Let there be no mistake, this is a very dangerous game. And in a way, my dad was right. But leave it to Motley Crue to put things into perspective. We don't worship the devil, we only shout at him. Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, circa 1980, my brother brought two strangers to my house for a reason that was explained to me as some sort of a new game. The fellows were one Tim the Enchanter and the other mysterious chap who went by the name DM. They asked me to join their cult and to become a wizard. I quickly agreed. And after the initiation into their coven, I learned their true names, Mike Prysick and Greg Roosh. We met weekly in the dungeon, and we engaged in ritual meditation on the 5 perfect solids. The game consumed us, and we spent long hours beneath a single 60-watt bulb. Something about the dim light and damp air forever warped our personalities. Soon we were in deeper than we first expected. We were in trouble, and we knew we were powerless over our addiction. What we needed was divine intervention. We drew our pentagrams and called for help. We summoned a powerful cleric by the name of the Great Pardue, which some of you might remember from the movie Monsters and Mazes. But lucky for us, Tom Hanks was unavailable. So we summoned the next best thing, a beast by the name of Chad. But alas, it was a trick, and the Death Master, to which he was affectionately called, did not help us at all. In fact, he pulled us deeper into nerdism and into the depths of escapism. What fun. Together with a ragtag team of neighborhood jocks and a few old Atari masters, we essentially christened the basement, or if you prefer, whatever the equivalent evil ceremony is called. AD&D actually did a wonderful thing for us. It did more than just forge friendships and serves as a sanctuary for nerds. It rechanneled the energy of the basement like some new age feng shui thing. It prepared our sacred palace for future creative and musical projects. Like Tom Hanks in the movie, we also were creating our life's paths. With our newly forged barred instruments, we began to bring our fantasies of magic and power to life. We sculpted and hammered out our songs of power and worshipped the primal gods, Hendrix, Zeppelin, and the apocalyptic Fab Four. Actually, there were more selfish reasons at work for spending so much time in the basement, but I must speak for myself only. Most teens, after graduating from high school, give up their silly games and fantasies and seek monetary and capital opportunities, as well as other more mature pursuits. Many young people follow in their parents' footsteps, while others were happy simply to mate, spawn, and eventually die. While others aspired to become accountants or warehouse employees, I began I, being too advanced for such work, reached for something much more. I took up the path of rock star. Statistically speaking, becoming a rock star is about as likely as making it in film or having a fun adolescence. A virtual impossibility. Becoming a rock star is like attempting to get a date with Jerry Ryan. Futile. Basically, instead of working a real job and interacting with real humans, I chose to take refuge in the basement, and being completely ignorant of statistics, plunged headlong into its murky depths. Ah, the basement. My cold, damp, poorly lit dungeon with your portable ping pong table propped in the corner with lost hit points still written on its surface. Once a place where fantasies were role-played out, now a virtual sacred ground for artistic experimentation. Like Dr. Jekyll, I descended daily into my laboratory and collected strange items, which my brother will help explain by playing the tape, to help me in my transformation. One such device was a little black box called the Echoplex. It was a cheap analog tape echo unit that I purchased from a fellow transmuter. With this strange device, I can plug an electric guitar in, and two would come out. Whatever you played into it, it would come right back at you. Listen now for a few moments. Okay. I soon mastered the secrets of its eerie feedback. I invented a style of playing completely dependent on and cruelly propelled by its clockwork accuracy. A lifelong relationship between man and machine was formed. A theme that was to reemerge in other ways in my life, like the incessant digital clicking of the pacemaker in my chest, tapping out its metronomic beat, keeping me in forever sync with its rhythms. Let me describe for you a typical day in the basement. My monastic rituals to the sacred dungeon look something like this. Play the drums for 2 hours while playing along with the first 3 Police albums. Then play the guitar for 4 hours. Initially, I explored spiritual and melodic directions in music. I aspired to a kind of purity in sound, but I lacked something. I lacked balance. I lacked evil. That was to come later. One day, while in my room, I was preparing my Walkman tape recorder with the appropriate Police mixtape with all of Stuart Copeland's most demanding drum work, of which I would attempt to play. And then a strange and fateful mix-up occurred. I inadvertently took one of my brother's heathen tapes. That's what you get for not labeling tapes. So I loaded up the Walkman with it, grabbed my guitar, and headed the full flights down to the basement. I set up the basement in the usual way. Set my guitar in the stand, placed Buzzy's old box on top of the floor tom, seated myself on the drum throne, placed the headphones on my head, carefully dropped the cassette into the box and hit play. I turned the volume up and was immediately assaulted by heavy metal music. I cringed and ripped the phones from my head. My disappointment was inexpressible. Rather than make the trek up the 2 flights to get the right tape, I decided to just play along with the questionable music. As I began playing along with the most intolerable music, an interesting thing happened. I could not keep up with it. It was hard and intricate. The beat was constantly interrupted by cymbal catches, cowbells, really fast bass drum work, and rhythm changes galore. It was evil and wrong, but it intrigued me. I couldn't believe my ears. What was this ridiculous band that could outplay Stuart Copeland? I had mistakenly discovered the dark side of music. I had discovered evil. I had discovered Motley Crue. In the twinkling of an eye, I was raptured up. My conversion was immediate and complete. I had discovered the fountain of youth, the philosopher's stone. At last, I had achieved balance. I could come down from whatever lofty cloud I was on and enter the real world. Without the 6-inch insulation of concrete between me and the harsh world, it would have been impossible for me to have nurtured my artistic individuality. Without the basement, I would have probably been an accountant right now. Probably a very successful accountant. Probably a very successful and rich accountant. But the point I'm trying to make is this. I would not have been happy. Not really happy. You know, not really deep down inside happy. All right, maybe I would have been happy. And maybe I would have been better off with a nice house in Lawrenceville or maybe West Windsor. With a swimming pool and a Lexus in the driveway, with a beautiful girl at my side. But it wouldn't replace the friends that I have made. But if I had a beautiful girl, then I wouldn't need the friends. What was my point again? Something about friendship. The friendship that we have made as a result of having our subterranean temple are lifelong. And that's the real story of the basement. The basement insulated us from undue criticism and was a safe haven that allowed us to be vulnerable enough to experiment, make mistakes, and to risk being each other's friends. Everyone here should be lucky to have been a part of the magic of the basement, which soon will be wrapped up like an old rug thrown in the back of Buzzy's car. But that's the beauty of it. Now there will be a new basement, and new music will be created, and even geekier games will be played there. And sure enough, it will lower the competition and make it much easier for others to enter the field of accounting and help some poor bastard musician file for bankruptcy. Thanks.